House Speaker Nancy Pelosi making a big announcement right before tonight's debate. The House is not going to hold a vote, a formal one at least now, for the formal launch of an impeachment inquiry.
You know, we need to hear from your caucus. We're not ready to have a vote yet. Why not call the administration's bluff and say...
Why? Because we're not here to call bluffs. We're here to find the truth, to uphold the Constitution of the United States. This is not a game for us. This is deadly serious.
And impeachment was a big topic tonight on the stage. Well, let's discuss with Fox News contributors Leslie Marshall and Byron York. Welcome to both of you. Great to have you with us.
Hi, Shannon.
All right, Byron. Byron, you are here with me. Hello, Leslie. Byron is here with me on the floor, the spin room. So what do you make of this pronouncement from the speaker? Because a lot of folks say, listen, she started this inquiry in a way that should satisfy her base. They think something is moving ahead, something's getting done, but they are not, by taking a vote, allowing the Republicans or the White House to have the other side of this coin, which is subpoenas, access to witnesses, transcripts, those kinds of things.
As we've heard many times, neither the Constitution nor the rules of the House require that they do this. The big reason to do this was basically a legal reason. That is, if the House subpoenas the White House refuses the subpoena, the House goes to court. The House can then say to the judge, we've got a big impeachment proceeding going on. It's tantamount to a judicial proceeding because we've all voted on it. That was important. But Pelosi has a lot of Democrats telling her, we don't need that. We've already got enough stuff. The president confessed. We've got all this evidence, and we can go straight to impeachment without this long court case that we might not even win anyway.
Or in time. I mean, there is a presidential election coming. That's why we're here tonight. Leslie, I talked to Tom Steyer, who is one of the candidates who finally made the stage tonight for the first time. And I talked to him about the fact that Nancy Pelosi, the speaker, has decided not to have this vote. You know, he's been pushing for impeachment for a couple of years, and his argument tonight was this should all be as transparent as possible because that's the only way that you're going to convince the American people to do something as serious as impeach a president. What do you make of the differences there between how this should be tackled and whether it should be completely transparent and Republicans should have access to witnesses and these hearings shouldn't be behind closed doors, they should be on TV?
I don't think what they're saying is different. I think there's a difference between the cart and the horse and where they are in position with one another. Nancy Pelosi has always said she needed a smoking gun, and that's why she wants to have an investigation, an inquiry to inquire and to get answers to these questions that are posed. Two, she knows it's divisive to the nation, and she wants the public to be on her side and the side of impeachment. And as we are seeing poll after poll, support for this inquiry and even for impeachment is growing, even among Republicans. And then third, she wants bipartisan support, and slowly that is trickling in. She knows, and Adam Schiff has talked about this, at the end of the day, even if the House votes to impeach, and this is their constitutional obligation to do so, the Senate will acquit. So she's not ready to pull the trigger on this yet.
And very quickly, before we run out of time, Byron, a number of sitting senators are on that stage tonight. They're running for the presidency.
5 of them.
Right. And so they're all going to have to vote on this. And they've been asked whether that's a conflict of interest for them.
It was interesting. We saw tonight, obviously, all the candidates favor impeachment because 90% of Democrats in the latest poll favor impeachment. But there still was kind of a scale between gung-ho and cautious. And Elizabeth Warren was gung-ho, and Kamala Harris was gung-ho. And yet we heard little bits of caution from Andrew Yang. We heard a touch from Cory Booker, basically saying, you know, we need to be careful about this. This would be incredibly divisive. We need to take care.
Okay, Byron, Leslie, stand by because they are both going to tell us their winners and losers of tonight's debate when we come back live to Ohio. All right, let's bring back our panel. We are live in Ohio. We want to wrap up with their winners and losers. Leslie Marshall and Byron York are back with us. Okay, let's start with winners. Byron, I'll go to you first. Who do you think had a good night tonight?
I think Elizabeth Warren was the winner because she seemed to be the leader. I mean, this is the first debate that's happened after Joe Biden was no longer the front runner. I mean, you know, in May, he had a 27-point lead. Now it's gone. Elizabeth Warren is leading in some polls, and I think she was the target because everybody could tell she's the one with the momentum.
Okay, and Leslie, I think we have a soundbite from the person you think was the winner tonight. We'll play that and get your reaction.
People need to keep their hands off of women's bodies and let women make the decisions about their own lives.
So Leslie,
Yes,
Senator Harris for you.
I don't think she was the winner of the debate overall, but I do think that was a breakout moment for her. A lot of people online, both men and women, thought it was awesome that she was bringing up women, bringing up reproductive rights. And again, when she talked about her mother at the kitchen table, a lot of us like me could picture our mom clipping coupons and could really relate.
Yeah, and it's interesting in these debates, these primary debates, so far there hasn't been a lot of discussion about the issue of abortion. I believe it was Planned Parenthood earlier today, or one of the other pro-choice groups that was tweeting out they wanted these candidates to talk more about it. We did get some of that discussion tonight. All right, Leslie, tell us now your decision for a loser tonight.
I have to say it was Tulsi Gabbard, and the reason for that is she was going to boycott this event, yet she is standing there. And in addition, she was originally against impeachment, and then she was in favor of it. So a lot of her fellow Democrats, myself included, were looking at her as a flip-flopper, and it was very hard to accept her as being genuine tonight for what she was saying on this stage, that she was going to boycott.
Yeah, and as a veteran, there was a lot of discussion between her and Pete Buttigieg, also a veteran, about the issues in Syria and beyond. A lot of foreign policy discussion tonight. So your loser for the night, Tulsi Gabbard. So now, Byron, I think we have a soundbite from the man you think didn't have the best night. Let's play that. We'll get your reaction.
You don't even know who has those weapons.
Then that weapon will be taken from them. The expectation is that Americans will follow the law.
Okay, so there was a lot of discussion on his part about guns tonight. He has faced these questions about confiscation. How are you going to get the guns? He had to engage on that tonight.
Well, remember, Beto O'Rourke made a lot of news in the last debate when he said, hell yes, we're coming for your AR-15. We're going to take your gun. And so tonight he was engaged with Pete Buttigieg about how he was going to do that. And Pete Buttigieg basically cleaned his clock on this. So O'Rourke came out looking much the worse after their encounter.
Well, and it was interesting that they talked about how is this going to happen. He took questions from the moderators, Beto O'Rourke did, about are you going to go door to door? How exactly are you going to confiscate these guns? And he sort of backed off like, well, no, we have plenty of laws in this country that we don't go door to door to enforce. But he then went on to say if somebody comes out at a public outing or is somewhere and has one of these guns with them, they'll be taken.
It will be taken, yes.
Right. So he went that extra mile, that extra step about saying exactly how this would go down.
Well, the thing is, originally, when he called for a gun buyback, AR-15 buyback, that's not an unusual policy. And then he said his would be mandatory. And then that leads you to the obvious question, well, how are you going to enforce that? Because there are, 5 million AR-15s in the United States? There are a lot of them. And Buttigieg basically just called his bluff on that. And so you're right. He went back and forth between saying, well, no, of course not. We're not going to pound on your door and take your gun. But if we see you with it, we got it.
Yeah, that's how that went.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that happens under a President O'Rourke. He did, Leslie, engage also with the front runner here, Senator Elizabeth Warren, on one thing. When he talked about, she had been talking about a wealth tax, and he said, listen, I agree with you on a lot of things, but the way that you say it and the way that your policies are rolled out, they feel very punitive in nature, and you're not going to win people over. Leslie, she said, I'm surprised that people would view me as punitive. A quick final comment from you before we wrap up.
Well, I do think when it comes to money and the fact that tonight I think she finally answered the question about would the middle class have an increase in taxes, because she has skirted that. I do think that people feel, especially if they're in the upper echelon of income earners, that they will be punished for earning. So I think punitive was right there. And I think he had a strong performance in his attacks against her with regard to her plan economically.
All right. Leslie and Byron, you wrap us up tonight. Thanks for being with us.